In today's video, instead of talking about a setup, we're going to talk about management of a setup, because remember, the way that you make money with my work is setup plus trigger equals trade entry, and then you manage it. So a lot of people don't understand how to manage it. But for example, your initial management, let's say if you took an entry against this old cluster zone, your initial management would have, or would be, to have a stop right underneath the cluster, or underneath the low that was made prior to the buy trigger. Okay, that's part of the management. But then as the trade moves forward, what you need to do is trail up stops as you go. So for example, if you managed this trade and we got up into this area and then it started to fail, then you were more than likely stopped out with at least a little bit of a profit. But what about here where we're making extension targets? Okay, so that's another thing to consider. Anytime that you meet extension targets, because we ended up having a secondary entry against this original trade setup, you then want to put your initial stop under the new zone, or after it triggered, or it could be either underneath this low or underneath these retracements at the 105 area, and then you want to trail it as you go. But how do you trail it? I mean, if you're looking at this chart, you don't really know which low you should place your stop underneath. So what you want to do is you want to go down to a lower time frame chart. Okay, so here is now a 30-minute chart of Microsoft, because this is where you'll be able to see, some of the shorter term, swing lows that you can place a stop underneath. So for example, we've met this key extension decision here in Microsoft, so how about having a stop underneath here? Well, today it wouldn't have gotten stopped out. That's one way that you can do it. The other way is by running the symmetry of this prior swings within the uptrend, and if we break that, then you can have a stop underneath there. So that's more than one way that you can do it. You can also use I guess average true range. Honestly, I don't know how to set that up for you, but I'm sure that somebody else does know how to do that. But bottom line, just go to a lower time frame chart. Start with a daily chart setup, go to the lower time frame chart to ratchet up stops.